Welcome to the Intrinsic First Leadership Podcast. I'm Aaron Robbins with Intrinsic First. Thanks for joining us on this journey. Be sure to stick around to the end for some debatably funny jokes that will hopefully leave you with a smile. And don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date on our latest episodes. We're here to support you, and we'd love to hear from you. So drop us a comment below or reach out to us directly at info@intrinsicfirst.com. Ready to dive into the world of leadership? Let's get started. So, thanks everyone for joining us for another Intrinsic First Leadership Podcast. We finished last podcast talking about one-to-one context, and we really focused, I think, on the directive side and sort of the first phase of performance. And so I think we were going to kind of focus this time into more of the supportive side or the inspiring side when someone has low energy, and kind of talk about some examples and where we go with that and what those skills look like.
Mm-hmm. Good. So we know that the phase one is the person who's really doesn't have the skills, but is really wanting to do it, to really want to accomplish something around the outcomes that they're working at. And the second phase is what we call the can't quite do it, and also I'm tired of failing. So it's a kind of a low level competence and kind of a low level commitment to accomplishing the outcome. It's better known as the honeymoon is over, and so newlyweds come out of the first maybe X number of months or years, really thinking that everything's great and we can work this and we can make it work and so forth and so on. And then disillusionment sets in, which is the same time. So if you're a brand new skier and they make some headway going down the hill, but they keep falling and they can't navigate it very well, and it's forever trying to stand up and a whole bunch of other things. It's basically the rookie has now turned into a person who's not only not being able to do it very well, but doesn't want to do it anymore. They don't want to. They're tired of failing, and so low competence and low commitment, or low energy and low skill or ability, needs a different kind of manager or a different kind of leader. And of course, you can see it coming. What we're recommending is that not only do you focus people on how to do it, but you focus them on, or you help them support their attitudes, the willingness to try to keep trying in specific ways. And the more they try, usually there's a breakthrough on one aspect of what they're trying to do, and all of a sudden it may rekindle the desire to be a really good performer, at least in the outcome you want. And so I'm sure Michael, if you remember, he out there playing baseball, he was terribly discouraged with his hitting, which was one of the reasons why he went back to play basketball. But it still boils down to who's going to help them train or find skills, build their skills to the point where they feel they really do have begun to grasp what they're doing and be able to continue to try. So that instead of hitting 200 or below 200, he starts to hit 250, starting hit even 275, which is not a bad batting average.
Right. So I just want to make sure I get this real quick. So from the leader perspective, you get this new intern, this new person right out of college, are excited, they're not, but they don't know anything. So you give them a lot of directive behavior to help them kind of learn what they need to learn.
We call that curious. I had to look it up.
Okay, they're in the curious.
The first phase is
curious. Where they're really curious. They want to know. They're like, and then they start to apply what they've learned, and they find a lot more roadblocks, and they start to fail.
Or more that they start to do what they're supposed to do before they've really begun to learn anything.
Well, I almost imagine like
their skill is low.
They're more aware of what they don't know, and so
yes.
Right, because they're doing it and realizing,
Yes.
wow, I thought I could just jump in and do this, and it's harder than I thought.
And that eats at their energy level.
Yes.
That's where we pick up as leaders.
Into confronting.
Right, because now they're in the confronting phase. And so that as leaders, when we understand that our subordinates are in that phase, now we provide more supportive behavior.
And in that phase, not only is their energy now low, but their competence is also low.
Oh,
because they're still just, still learning. They haven't really figured this out. And so I was wondering if we're going to dig into supportive, the terminology between the two. We'll call it supportive. It's really, I would say, in the next phase, cautious, where now their skills are starting to get high, but their energy is still lower. Where you have, more supportive but not directive, because you could have in the behaviors you're providing to this individual that you're leading in a one-to-one context. I would think that it's more complicated when you're trying to balance high directive and high supportive, as opposed to, all right, no, you kind of know what you're doing. I'm backing off on the direction. Now I'm going to focus more on just the supporting. I guess it doesn't really matter which phase you need high support in both. But if we're going to talk about the supportive skills and things, it might be easier just to isolate that and say, all right, so if they have low energy, right, or inspiring support, we're going to go higher inspiring. And that's when we're starting to talk about active listening and collaboration and facilitating problem solving and things like, facilitating problem solving is...
No, it's a support.
That's supportive. Okay. Hey, look at
You got it.
Yay.
So let's now, just like we divided ableness into high or task knowledge and transferable skills, we're going to break down what we're calling the. Oh, he's.
I'm modeling the book.
Oh, you're so nice. I like it. So we're gonna call the issues we're gonna break the question of commitment down into two subscales or sub parts. Sometimes people don't have the confidence to do something, versus they don't have the motivation to do something. So think of motivation as wanting to do it, and thinking confidence of I can do it. And both of those influence someone's capacity.
And it's not that they are low in motivation, it's the quality of their motivation, right? Which is what we were talking about for ways back.
Say more about that.
Well, we talked about in motivation, when we look at motivation, it's not so much about whether you're low or high in motivation or how much motivation you have. It's about the quality of your motivation. Is your motivational outlook an optimal or suboptimal outlook? Right.
Which gets down to the why. Why are they actually doing this?
And this is where we link to our motivation podcast.
And then we also advertise our workshops. That's why.
Bing.
Yeah.
So let's come back now then. So we could have a person who's able or just beginning to become able. And what do you think would be the issue between motivation and competence? If they're just beginning to get the skill.
Well, confidence is, I see it as self-efficacy, right?
The belief in self.
Right. Do you believe that you can do it?
Yeah.
Whereas motivation is your psychological energy to want to do it.
Yes, the want. So the want to versus the belief in self that they can do.
Right.
Yeah. So what kind of skills behaviorally would you recommend leaders use to increase someone's sense of commitment?
I think we talked about that earlier. Talked about like active listening.
Right. That's the big one, I think.
Yeah.
Active listening.
Facilitating, showing, and telling.
Yeah, collaborating, facilitating problem solving.
Okay, so facilitating problem solving is another one that makes sense to it.
How about showing and telling? Is that the other one?
No, that's directive.
Well, but that's that's not wouldn't be aimed at their commitment. It would be aimed at their competence.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Wouldn't it showing and telling how?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
So staying with it for just a few minutes.
Stay there.
Yeah, I want to, but if I move forward, like, bonk, but the hands, they think.
I need them to be able to hear you.
Okay, I got it. All right, bro. You're right. You're right. I apologize. So let's get at those what we're going to call supportive behaviors. One certainly is listening,
Right.
and that means leaders have to shut up and ask questions. And so listening has to do with asking what? Asking
Open-ended questions.
open-ended questions. Anything else listening involves?
Yeah,
Reflecting,
Feelings. Oh, how do you feel about what you're doing?
paraphrasing, summarizing, and attending to nonverbals.
Exactly. Now, those behaviors we got to get leaders to use, and not indiscriminately, but in this circumstance, you want to shut up and listen to what they're. I can't hit the ball. I just can't hit the ball.
I'm not a religious person, but I've heard that God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Oh no!
Have you heard that expression?
Yeah. If he didn't want us to listen, he would have given us no mouth.
Well,
Is that what you're thinking?
no, it's just listen more than you talk, I think is the idea.
Yeah, it really is.
2 ears, 1 mouth.
Yes. Because what are you going to fill the answers to? How are you going to fill the answers in this circumstance? You got somebody who's discouraged and who's down in the dumps.
Well, I forget what book I'm reading right now, but they were talking about working with kids and parents having challenges. Tell my kids what to do, and they never want to do it. I know they know how, and it's like, well, what have you tried asking them what to do? Right? It's like, oh my God, it was like it's talking about it was like magic, right? Instead of waking up in the morning and saying, get out of bed and go brush your teeth, it's saying, hey, what do you got to do this morning?
Yeah. Or
you got to brush your teeth. All right, are you going to do it? And not make a single statement except for questions. That is all supportive, and I would say it works, but it only works if they know what they need to do, right?
assuming for a minute that that's correct. That's right. And they're not stumbling over the want to do.
They're not stumbling over the want to do.
Imagine somebody who
The motivation.
has low confidence and also low confidence, but also has low motivation. Yeah.
Or suboptimal motivation.
Yeah. So as we go through this thing, I'm asking for leaders to, if they want to create supportive environments, they have to listen. They have to facilitate problem solving, which is another thing you said, and it's part of it. Mm-hmm. Facilitating certain forms of. What does that look like? What does it sound like?
It's hard. We teach a class on that, and it's not problem solving. It's helping someone else problem solve. Right. And I remember when we taught that class, the last time we taught it, one of the things that I think was an aha moment for people was that it's actually sometimes easier to facilitate problem solving when you don't know the answer.
Right.
Because when you do, you're going to be like, because you know what to tell them to do, you know what to do. But if you don't either know what to do, then you're almost problem solving with them, and you're facilitating. So.
Yeah, and they're willing to accept a number of answers, because the part of the problem solving behavior is asking open-ended questions, but also facilitating the alternative answers that can come from that. We have to. I see too many managers who think they have the answer and stuff the answer with their solution to the problem. They don't draw out and look at more than 1 or 2 or 3 alternatives before they decide on what that possible answer could be or that possible strategy could be.
Yeah, even if they know the answer, like we're saying, it's so much more powerful or influential to help develop their people by allowing them to come up with those different options.
Yeah.
And then exploring which one has the best solution.
So it involves generating alternatives, and moving from generating alternatives to examining the pros and cons of those alternatives, because the quality of the examination of the solutions, either hypothetically or testing, is fundamental to teaching. Oh, we tried that, or we did that, or maybe we didn't do it quite the best way. And so asking open-ended questions, defining what the problem we think it is, and then looking for alternatives and making sure that those alternatives have a fully examined, because too many oftentimes parents will jump in and say, no, don't do that. Why not? Well, when I was a kid, it didn't work for me, and it was blah, 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 blah. No.
Right. Or even that newly promoted boss, and they get frustrated. Let me just do it myself, or just not letting their subordinates kind of figure it out. I think it's super important. Kids, players, and that coach and player dynamic, same thing. So.
And encouragement, I think, is another one.
And what's the difference between praising and encouragement?
Well,
judgment.
One's more general.
Opinion, right?
Yes, one is I like that, and putting out the answer.
There's an affect to praise is positive. It's you're good, you did a good job. I like
specific.
what you did.
Right. It's not very
Whereas
specific.
encouragement is lifting them up.
Oh, well, encouragement is saying that's a pretty good idea. What other things can we do? Remember, encouragement for me is the answer coming from them and saying,
okay,
not just okay, I like it, let's do that.
Right. Oh, that's a good idea. That would be praise.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like praise, there's like a dead end, right? Once a statement's made, it's done. We're encouraging. You're like, okay, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think of encouragement like you can do it.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah. So we've got praising and encouraging. Praising is not necessarily outside the realm of doing it, but those should be done very, very small, in small amounts.
Encouragement.
Yeah.
Praise.
No praise.
Oh, praise.
Yeah, encouragement is. I don't think it. That.
Well, it's like cheering on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You think of like a sport game.
So we got praising and encouragement. We got facilitating problem solving, and we've got listening. Can you think of any other direct report? Supportive behaviors.
I don't want to say feedback, but is that?
Well, feedback is a combination, don't you think, of
That's a super skill.
well, here's one, guys. What do you think about this?
It is in the training.
Is it super skill? I thought it was micro skill.
No, it's called in MMWO. It's one of the 5 super skills.
Oh, that's MMWO.
Yeah.
Well, here's a couple others. Rationale building is another one. Oftentimes, by saying, "Listen, we're
providing rationale. Yeah.
We're doing this. Here's the outcomes. Here's why we have to do it." Oftentimes, within the whys are the solutions to what can be done.
Yeah, that I would say that kind of hits towards purpose and motivation, right? It's psychological need is, I don't understand why we're doing this. What's the connection? What's the reason?
Yeah.
Providing rationale.
Well, supportive behaviors can be used for both motivational problems as well as,
That could also be related to helping people find that sense of purpose or connection or meaningful. Something we do on the government side, because we work with ships, but most people don't ever even have to go near a ship, right? They're working finance, they're working contracts, they're working, even systems engineering. They're working on systems that go on ships, and especially people that were never in the Navy will do ship visits so they can see the equipment they're working on in action.
Do you know how easy that is to say? Say that again.
What? Ship visits?
Ship.
Ship visits.
Ship.
Are you saying I said a bad word?
No, I was saying I was wonderfully said.
Oh.
Ship visits.
Ship visits?
Yeah, ship visits.
Ship.
Yeah, ship visits.
It's a ship visit.
Anyway, you can scratch this.
He had a point. I don't know what it is anymore.
No, it's providing rationale. Is finding meaning in the work. You're increasing their, trying to help them shift their motivational outlook. Is why are you doing this? Well, you know exactly what you need to do, but you don't have even the energy to get out of bed. It's the psychological energy. It's not physical. You got plenty of sleep.
We're here to support the warfighter.
Yeah, let's go see it in action and see the value that you provide, and or even go out for a few days and watch them get really frustrated when something breaks, so that they understand how important it is that when you make your design correctly, it works, and you're giving that context. I don't know. I look at that almost as a type of rationale. Are you ready for my joke? I told my wife she was drawing her eyebrows too high. She seemed surprised.
Hey,
I got him.
Wah, wah, wah. That'll work.
Little Johnny sitting in church and extremely bored and restless as the preacher's long and dull sermon as it drags on and on. Not able to take it anymore, he leans over to his dad and whispers, "Hey, if we give him the money now, can we leave?"
It's good. This is good.
Did you come up with that yourself?
Yeah, I put it on my website.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us.
Oops. Should I put this back on?
No, sure. No. Yeah. Go for it.
A ball buster. I can be all ball buster.
All right. Congrats! You made it to the end of the episode. Thanks for tuning in. We genuinely hope that you found value in our conversation. If you liked it, please click that like button below and subscribe so that you can stay up to date on our current episodes. And if you didn't like it, you can click the dislike button, but make sure you click it twice. We're eager to hear from you, whether it's your thoughts, questions, topic ideas, or if you're interested in our leadership training and consulting support. Leave us a comment below or reach out to us directly at info@intrinsicfirst.com. We're open to any and all feedback. Thanks again for joining us. We look forward to having you back for more insightful leadership discussion. Until next time.